Yale Kwan. Yale Kwan is from, well, you go to Ridgefield Park High School, so you must live there. Is that right?
Yes.
Yale? And your mom is Suk Young Kim. Where's Suk Young?
She's
Where are
not here
you?
tonight.
She here? She's not here tonight? How about your dad?
He is.
He is. Jay, how are you, Jay? Jay is here. Jay Hakwan. So please yell. I think your microphone should be active, so why don't you go?
안녕하세요. Good evening, everyone. My name is Yeo Kwan. I'm a junior at Ridgefield Park High School, and my goals for this internship is to get involved, like you guys mentioned, because I'm a person that loves to like help people. I'm a very helpful person, and I'm really dedicated into like, I guess, getting involved, as you said, and so for my future, I don't really have like a set goal of what I want to do. I'm really into like fashion and like animals and all that, but I don't think that's what I want to become. Like, I at first had like dreams of becoming like a lawyer, but like that's a lot of years of schooling, and I don't know if I'm like that dedicated enough into getting into that, but we'll see. So I don't know what else I was supposed to say. So from my background, my parents are originally from Korea, and my oldest brother, who is 23, is also from Korea as well, and they all came here when he was about like 5 years old, and the rest of us, so my older sister, myself, and my little brother were also born here, so we're citizens. And so like throughout their life, they obviously had like a tough time like coming from Korea and not living their life here, but like we managed and we are here today. And so I'm really thankful for that, and for the education I have, which is also really important because I believe that many students or many like kids in the world today do not have the education that I have or that we have, and so I'm really thankful for that. And as for my goals, like I said, in the future, I want to be not really in the business world, but like, I actually don't know. I think that's it. So my question for you guys is, what made you guys want to become in the law enforcement like industry, or what was your goals to begin with, like your dreams?
Well, that's an easy question. I know I could answer it, but the longest serving law enforcement individual here is Mayor Robert White. Again, 34 plus years of law enforcement, and he's been on the police department since 1982, maybe before many of you were born, right? Obviously. So Mayor White, I guess the question is, why did you get involved with law enforcement?
I was like you. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And the honest answer to the question is that I was sitting around the dinner table one evening, and I was talking to my older sister, and I had graduated from high school. I spent 1 year at Springfield College, which is in Massachusetts, and I thought at that time I wanted to be a teacher, a gym teacher, and it didn't work out. I didn't like school at college, and I didn't like the major, so I came back home and I enrolled in Bergen Community College, just in general studies. So anyway, long story short, my sister said, I think you'd make a good police officer. So I thought about it, and I said, you know, I would be interested in that. And then, I think I was probably 19 years old. I changed my major to, at the time, at Bergen Community, was police science. They called it police science. I don't know if it's criminal justice, or I don't know what they call it today. But so I enrolled there in that program. I finished there, and I took the civil service examination after I got my associate's degree. I was working 2 jobs at the time, and I did well on the test, and the rest is history, really. But that's the true answer. At the time, I was kind of floundering, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But what I did do, once I became a police officer, I thought it was important for me to continue my education. So when I became a police officer, I had an associate's degree, and I guess it was probably 2 years after I was hired. I decided to go back to school. So I enrolled at Jersey City. At the time it was Jersey City State, now it's New Jersey University in Jersey City. And I got my bachelor's degree and then continued on and got my master's degree because I thought it was very important to learn as much as I could, because once I got into that field, I liked it and I wanted to become the best that I could be, for myself and for the community, and it really helped me. It helped me get promoted, advance in the department, and the knowledge that I got from the college and the training, and I also took a lot of extra training courses. I mean, the chief and I went to a few together, just to enhance our careers and to just better ourselves, and it worked out. And I'm very happy that I did. But you know what? I like to help people. You mentioned that. I think that's a key with law enforcement or any public service. You really have to want to. If you're going to be good at it, you have to really, in your heart, want to help people and want to do better for society. That's what I think. So it's a long answer, but.
Okay, thank you.
Ed, do you want to tell us why you went to law enforcement?
And it's funny when you were talking about that, about you don't know what you want to do yet and things like that. I was exactly the same way. And I had many different jobs before I became a police officer, so I can relate to that very easily. And what happened with me, and again, the honest answer is I had some friends that were police officers, some family members, and then you started thinking, this is, probably a pretty good career. Again, liking and wanting to help people. But then when I, got the job and started doing it again, you want to be the best that you can be. You want to be the, we're police officers, but, we're cops, they call us cops. You want to be the cop that the cop next to you goes through the door with. You want to be that guy that they call a cop's cop, that somebody that respects you, that wants to work with you, and hopefully that's who I was, that's who I still am. And I always say, if you have that, it never goes away. And so you'll see, as time goes on, when you go through college and get your education and see what direction you're going to go in, where you'll ultimately end up. But for a lot of people, it's not just, some people know when they're 14 what they're gonna do. Some people don't know until they're 24. Some people maybe not know until they're 34 what they really want to do. So in your heart, you'll know when the time comes, and that's what happened to me. Once I started this job, the best thing I could have ever done. Again, when I first became a patrolman, I was happy to be a cop, a road cop, a road police officer. That's what I like to do. I ended up ultimately here because I like to think because I knew what I was doing, and it's still today. I like doing it. I like helping people. I like being involved, and that's why I did it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. I know I became the police chief in January of 1995, and some 7 months later, this young buck called Tommy Johnson wanted to be a police officer. So why don't you invoke your reasons why you entered law enforcement in 1995, Tom?
Well, I went to William Patterson College and I wanted to be a stockbroker. And I'm sitting around with my father and my cousins were police officers, and they said, maybe the same thing. I didn't know what I wanted to be. Stocks and bonds, that's it. That's all I want to do. I want to get out of college. I took accounting. I want to be over there. I want to be in New York. I want to be in, at the time, the Twin Towers. I want to be there. I want to work there. I want to go to New York. Then they're like fooling around with my cousins. They're like, maybe you might want to become a police officer. I said, all right, maybe after college or. And then I'll never forget my first test. I was in William Patterson, and my cousin drives me up there in the state police car, and I'm like, oh, this is great. You actually were able to take this car, and we were able to drive up here, and now I'm at the front of the spot, and I'm taking everybody saying hi to me, and everybody's nice to me and everything, and I'm saying to myself, you know what, they said it's important, then I wanted to become a police officer. But the same thing, you have to have that inspiration. You want to help people. And I became a patrolman under the chief, and the mayor was a captain at the time, and you know, I just wanted to be that friendly guy out there helping everybody. You go there, you want to be a plumber, you're going to be a psychologist, you're going to be everything. You're going to hold a lot of hats. And then I wanted to inspire to be a detective because I just liked going out there and doing things and being involved and everything. But you got to remember one thing, and like the chief and the mayor and the other chief said, you have to want it in your heart, and when it comes, you'll say to yourself, that's what I want to do. And it's been since 1995, and I worked with the mayor and the chief, and they're both my really good friends, and I still love it. And you have to always have that smile on your face, because if you don't, you're not going to want to do it anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. So Yale, is this your sister Ann that's also on our program along with your brother Richard?
Yes, but she's not here tonight.
Okay, so why don't you introduce your brother who's next?
My brother Richard Kwon.
So here's the good news and bad news. The good news is that Yale was up there for about 10 minutes and she kept her composure. She did a great job. And the bad news is that now Richard, a 9th grader, a freshman in that same high school, has got to do a similar time period. But no, all joking aside, yeah, you did a great job up there for standing up there. You're one of the older students. You're 11th grader, right?
Yeah.
So Richard, you don't have to spend as much time as your sister, but if you want to, that's fine with us. But why don't you continue to do your presentation?
Alrighty. 안녕하세요. 저 이름은 권현준입니다. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Richard Kwon. I currently attend Ridgefield Park Junior Senior High School, and I'm a freshman. Currently, I am trying to pursue a job or trying to pursue a career in law and criminal justice system. In other words, saying like lawyers or detectives. But like I have some doubts about that because my sister explained that it takes a couple years, and I don't think I'm that dedicated either. But I'll try my best. Through this program, I hope to pursue some experience, I guess, and some education in what the field is like, and to take that to heart and see what it's like. I guess my sister explained most of my background, so I assume you guys already know that. My question for you guys, I'll get right to the point. I have some doubts, and I was wondering if you guys ever had any doubts about your pursuit, I guess, and how did you overcome it?
Richard, thank you very much for your introduction and your question. I can tell you about myself and what I feel. You're a 9th grader, so I'm going to guess you're around 14 or 15. So here is a nutshell. If you want to become a law enforcement, and I do recommend all of you really to consider being a law enforcement officer in your whatever jurisdiction you come from. But in New Jersey, quite easy and simple to be a police officer. It's very competitive. You'll compete with thousands, literally tens of thousands of others, but you have to take an entry exam and compete with others. All of us, the mayor, myself, the chief, and the lieutenant, all come from what we call civil service police departments. Civil service police department means that you take a state test and you get ranked from a 100 all the way down to 70. And when the jurisdiction that's going to hire certifies the list, they certify a list and it starts from 100 down. So you can imagine the tens of thousands of applicants that take the test. There are thousands of people that score between 100 and 70. If you get a 69, obviously it's not a passable score. But even if you get the 100 and you're certified to someone like the mayor to a point, like I told you before, the background investigation is going to take place. And someone like Detective Lieutenant Tommy Johnson is going to look at all these applicants and all their background investigations and recommend to the chief, who will then review and recommend to the mayor who to hire. So your best bet is to stay in school, do good in school, get good grades, continue to do exactly what you're doing. As a 9th grader, to be involved in this program is one of the best steps that you ever took. Because if I'm going to hire someone, let's just say you scored a 100, and you were competing with someone who also had the same score because you were in an internship program at 9th grade and probably continued to do other great things and extracurricular activities from 10, 11, 12, and so on, you'll be in a better position. You'll have a better background for someone like me to recommend to someone like Mayor Bob that this is a great applicant, we should go out with it. Law enforcement needs more Korean officers. There's no doubt about it that Bergen County is a growing Korean population. And we have 70 municipalities, 68 municipal police departments, Palisades Park, Ridgefield Park, Fort Lee, Old Tappan, Tenafly. There are a number of communities that have 30, 40, even 50%, and Palisades Park is number one, probably 60, 70%. The whole town is Korean, and I think there's only 3 or 4 Korean officers there. We need more Korean officers, so someone like you doing exactly what you're doing today, you stand to be in a better position to be hired later on in the future. But staying in school, getting good grades, and going on to college is probably your most important benefit right now.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Megan?
You're very young, and you don't have to know what you want to do right now. It'll come with time. Like the chief said, pursue your education, go to college, and hopefully sometime between now and then, you'll figure out what you want to do, what you have a good aptitude for. I think regardless, this program is good for you, and it's good for young children, not children, kids, young adults, let's call it, whatever. It's good for you to learn about law enforcement, to understand what police officers do every day, regardless of whether you become one, because it's good for law enforcement and really good for all the communities, for their residents to understand what police officers go through every day. And again, I think if you know that and understand that, you'll be more tolerant and understanding of why police do some of the things they do. Because that happens where, in all communities, where police officers have to do their job, and sometimes that could be misinterpreted as whatever. It could be brutality, or it could be being treated disparagingly, or whatever the case may be, where there's a complaint. And sometimes, let's face it, sometimes complaints are valid, and the police officer does wrong. We're human beings, and sometimes we weed out bad police officers. It happens where somebody comes on the job and it's just not for them. They think it is, and they just don't have the right demeanor, or they don't have what it takes to be a police officer, and they might get into trouble. They might not be able to handle themselves in the proper way. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's good though that others have understandings, a good understanding of what police do. That's why we have citizens police academies, we have junior police academies, we have even senior police academies, where you have all those different groups, age groups that go and they learn what police officers do. And again, the key is that they're more tolerant and understanding of the police role, what we're supposed to do, and really what residents are supposed to do to support the police. Because I think the majority of people want to support the police. So it's a good thing. It's a very, very good thing. And one other thing I just wanted to mention, because it was brought up when Tom, Lieutenant Johnson, was talking. I interviewed, I used to do what Lieutenant Johnson did when I was on the police department too. I interviewed, I did background checks. But now as mayor, I also conduct interviews. And really the interview with me is the final step, whether or not that person gets hired or not. Interpersonal skills, communication, how you communicate is, to me, as the mayor and the appointing authority, the number one thing that I look at. You know what, in law enforcement it's not as important as other professions, but I really don't care if, I personally like to see the person be educated. I think every police officer today should at least have military experience or a bachelor's degree. That's what I think. But if I have two applicants and the one went to Yale, okay, and the other one went to William Patterson College, I mean, not to say that William Patterson College is a bad college, but let's face it, Yale is an Ivy League school, and most Yale graduates wouldn't want to be police officers, but if one did, and I had those two applicants in front of me, and the one that went to Yale didn't speak well, didn't communicate well, and the one that went to William Patterson did, and was very, very good at handling him or herself and speaking and expressing themselves, I'm going to go with the person from William Patterson College. It's very important in law enforcement. So that's, and on that note, some of you might be shy. I was when I was your age too. I was very shy. Now, I didn't take advantage of this, but I know a lot of people that have, and to the parents, you might want to think about this, because it really does help you communicate better and speak better. And most of the Fortune 500 companies out there send their managers to a course that by Dale Carnegie. It's called How to Win Over and Influence People. It's an excellent course. Like I said, I myself haven't taken it. I know people that have, and it's wonderful. And it really helps people that are a little shy, maybe, afraid to get up and speak in front of people or lead people in a management or a supervisory role. It really helps them to break out of that shell. It gives them good advice and really good tools to use to help them. Simple things like remembering people's names, which is important. And it's very important in sales, in certain businesses. It's extremely important to be able to have that one-on-one and remember something about them. So anyway, again, I'm talking too long, but so the answer to your question is don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But this will help you, and communication skills is going to help you. Believe me, it'll help you in whatever you do, whatever field you pick. If you can communicate and express yourself, you're one step ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard. And I want to do a shout out to their father, Jay. Jay, thank you very much for engaging your 3 children. Will Ann be with us and just not is here this evening?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Okay, Trinity Key. I say it right, Trinity? Trinity, your turn.
Yes, I have some objection.
Go ahead.
Come over here. The time given to student is less than 3 minutes. We don't have a normal question. Just self-introduction is better, right? If you have any question, when you get a presentation time in the next month, I think we can get prepared. Okay? Because I think we'll get a whole lot of spare time.
I think the adults in the room didn't listen to that rule. We're very sorry. But go ahead, Trinity. You've got 3 minutes.
Okay. I just want to start off by thanking the chief, mayor, and detective of Saddlebrook, and chief of Oakland, and obviously the executive board members. Hi, I'm Trinity Key, and I attend Bergen County Academies, and I'm a 9th grader in business and finance. Just to start off, I actually wanted to be a lawyer since I think around 5th grade, but I'm 14 right now and I have no idea what I want to be. And obviously at 5th grade, I would want to be an astronaut one day, a lawyer the other, a scientist the next day. But I think the main reason why I wanted to be one was because I think it's so crucial and vital that everyone has a voice in their community. And some people don't, and as a lawyer, you're that one person that connects that person to have a voice in case they don't have anyone to rely on. And at first, I really didn't think I was fit to be a lawyer. And then my dad told me that he was actually a biochem major. And he didn't have the support that he needed to become a surgeon or whatever he wanted to be. So he told me every opportunity I get to achieve that goal, or honestly just learn anything I could, it's so important for me to take that chance. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I joined this internship, because using this, I can learn so much more and gain more knowledge in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you, Trinity. Your mom here, Soo Young? Where's Soo Young?
My parents weren't able to attend
Oh, okay.
tonight.
Well, thank you, Trinity. Okay, our next intern is Andrew Park. Is that you, Andrew?
Yeah.
Thank you for being more efficient, getting up there. You have 3 minutes.
First and foremost, I want to thank our special guests, the parents and the executive board, for taking time out of their day. But my name is Andrew Park. I was born in Long Island, New York, and I was raised in North Bergen County. My mother and father they immigrated from South Korea, and they lived the majority of their lives in New York. I've worked with grassroots organizations in the past that have focused on local government and voter registration. I think a common misconception that many immigrants and minorities have is that law enforcement is only in place to punish and I guess scrutinize minorities or citizens that make mistakes, but I think it's really important that local governments and local law enforcement agencies educate their own citizens that law enforcement is here to assist and help all the members of the community. And I think my own goal and vision through the United States Law Enforcement Coalition internship program is that I can become better informed about law enforcement and the law enforcement process to a point where